I guess if you are looking at starting something on your own, um, don't think too much into it. Just take the step. One step at a time, solve one problem at a time. I think is better than trying to plan out like a 1 year roadmap or what you're trying to do.
Let's talk about strategies as well. There are so many opportunities, so many problems to solve. How do you determine or prioritize or strategize which one to go for?
Yeah, I would say that what we've done is we are always tackling the immediate problem, right? That is at hand at the moment, and not sometimes. Yes, we want to be able to plan far ahead. The problems that immediately needs to be resolved, right? We prioritize those first. Yeah, but I think life and running a startup is the same, right? Right. If you're running, for example, in your family, there's a water leakage, and that of course is priority. Then yeah, I think it's pretty much the same lah. Like, but I do realize that we are in, it seems like we're in like a firefighting stage all the time lah. But and sometimes it can get a bit tiring. But I want to just say that you won't be that stage forever lah. Right? If you firefight, it won't be that stage forever. There will still come a point in time you can see the light in some sense lah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and talking about mentally or physically draining, and kind of tiredness kicks in, right? We all know kind of doing a startup, right? It's like a roller coaster, right? At times. So how do you prevent burnout for yourself?
There seems to be this culture where founders, they have to be crazy, workaholic. I would say I balance that quite well in a sense because I'm used to working over the weekends and all. So I didn't build up that habit of having needing a very clear work versus leisure. I need that break. Meaning, for example, I go on a holiday. I always bring my laptop and I still continue work, and I actually enjoy it lah. So I think the thing is you need to enjoy what you're doing, right? If you're thinking about segregating your work and life, then maybe you don't quite enjoy your work lah, right? And I've been to that stage before, right? I was in UX education for a while, working in the public service before, so I do understand that state of mind. But so, and I think everyone, not just talking about founders, but I think everyone should have some interest in hobby and outlet, right? So I do. So it's particularly difficult when because of the pandemic. I have a regular soccer group lah, so we couldn't play football for a while.
So I mean, in your journey in Lendor, right? Was there a particular incident or particular story that make you really think that actually Lendor is really worth your life to invest in?
Yeah, I would say getting a lot of encouraging feedbacks from customers, sort of validated. So I remember like there was once pitching to an investor. I think their feedback was pretty nasty, and feeling a bit demoralized. But then the next day, you have a couple of customers coming out. Hey, this is such a great initiative, great idea, and they really enjoyed the service. That sort of erases the comment from that from the particular investor, right?
Nice. Really kind of reminds me of celebrating little success, right? To kind of cover, I mean, the negativities, right? I think that is important, right? To kind of keep the morale high. For our listeners out there who are thinking of something like a passion project, right? Like a hobby project, as a sideline, or even a startup, right? So what is your advice to them?
I guess if you are looking at starting something on your own, don't think too much into it. Just take the step. One step at a time, solve one problem at a time. I think is better than trying to plan out like a 1 year roadmap or what you're trying to do. So then you can also break down your problem into more bite size. Don't worry about how to hire people or how to, you know, get your suppliers. I think it's just go and do it, and try it. Then that could shape how eventually the business is going to be. Um, Instead of always thinking that, hey, this is the business that I'm going to set up, that perfect story lah. It will never be that case lah, I would say, right? It will always be quite different lah. After once you take that first step out, it's going to be the product you decide to build or the business you're trying to run could be slightly going to be different from what you originally thought of lah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Thank you for your sharing. Right, I think it's really inspiring to see, your leadership in taking Landor, to really encourage zero waste, right, and to promote sustainability.